All right, all right. We are back again, everyone. This is From the Margins with James Auffant, attorney extraordinaire, politico, great husband, father, and grandfather. Jimmy, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am alive and kicking. Let's just jump into it because we've got some interesting news. I'm going to read what our president said, Donald J. Trump, on I believe it was Truth Social or maybe Twitter. I don't know. I'm pleased to announce that the highly respected United States Senator from the great state of Oklahoma, Markwayne Mullin, will become the United States Secretary of Homeland Security effective March 31st, 2026. The current secretary, Christi Noem, who has served us well and has had numerous and spectacular results, especially on the border, will be moving to be the special envoy for the shield of the Americas, the shield of the Americas, our new security initiative in the Western Hemisphere. We are announcing this on Saturday in Doral, Florida. I thank Chrissy for her service at Homeland. And this goes on and on about Markwayne Mullin, and it was posted at 12:41, March the 5th, on Truth Social, I believe also on Twitter, X. Your thoughts, Jimmy? Here we go.
Well, Christine is going to go to work for Marvel. And you're wondering what I say by Marvel?
Yes.
Shield. And that's a Marvel program. That's a shield that protects the world. So she's going to work for Marvel. Look, she's got canned. She got fired.
Yeah.
But the real reason is what he didn't put, and we all know. This week, she had a fiasco with the House, and she had a fiasco with the Senate. Fiasco with the House was that they asked her at least 3 times that she was having an affair with Mr. Landowski, and not once did she deny it. She just deviated to something else and tried to criticize the person. Only problem is, and this is something that you need to know, the 3 people who asked her she was having an affair were not Democrats. They were Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
Her own party. Oh, no, can't blame Biden. Can't blame the Democrats. These were Republicans.
Right.
But in the Senate, Senator from Louisiana, John Kennedy, no relation to the Kennedys up north, he always clarifies that, so I'm going to clarify that too, asked her if it was true that she spent $250 million in advertising where she came out discussing how well she's doing in the Department of Homeland Security. That's right. And how she's securing the borders and all that stuff. And she said yes. And she was asked if she had approval by President Trump to that effect. Now, let's stop it there. Don't think for 1 second that John Kennedy had not checked with the White House and see if the White House and Donald J. Trump had approved her spending $250 million in self-promotion. Okay? The response that he had already received from the White House that she was on her own, that they had nothing to do with it.
Correct.
And twice he asked her, did you, well, I discussed it with the president. No. And he said, did you get approval from the president? She said, I discussed it, which basically is saying, hey, look, I never got approval. I just did it on my own. To that, we now have the articles that came out that with her blanket, that they deviated of playing back just because her favorite blanket was left in that jet. Now you're going to say, what's the big deal, Jimmy? Each of those flights, because this is a private airplane, costs over $300,000. So yeah, there is your big deal, because that's being paid by tax dollars. She was about to purchase a jet for her personal use for $330 million, which is more than $250 million. What for? Not sure, but she was about to purchase it. But where it becomes interesting is in the sources that did these videos and did these promotions. It appears that it hasn't come out too clear yet that there's some kickbacks that are going to come back to her.
Oh, wow.
The truth of the matter, if you add to that the fiasco of Minnesota, which a lot of you didn't read it like I did, the president directly took out Bevano, Senator California. It wasn't her, it was the president. And then the president appointed his czar of immigration to go to Minnesota and fix the problem. And he said, we're leaving here because what we came to do, we've done. Well, if you came to Minnesota to kill people, yeah, you did it. We could all agree, irrespective from party affiliation, that Minnesota was a fiasco. Politically, public relation way, and the numbers do not justify all the people that were there. The numbers of people who were deported from Minnesota do not justify. And the truth of the matter is that immigration couldn't be there to solve the problem with the so-called fraud COVID that everybody was trying to talk about and make an issue out of. So realistically, she had to go. And she's been insulted by saying, I'm going to send you to Marvel. Look, I can't believe that shield is a promotion in any shape or manner. It's a demotion, if anything. Right. And at this point, she was making this. Look, she was spending all this money because she was running for president in 2028. Period.
Man, no.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not going to happen. No. That's not going to happen. No.
And Rubio and Vance noticed that. But here's where it becomes worse. We have a shutdown for which agency?
DHS.
Homeland Security. Can the Democrats prove now that DHS is wasting money? Yes. Oh. Can they say, look, we need to sit down and readjust this budget because there's a waste of money here, and we all know it? Okay. So if anything, this is the part that you people do not understand. Donald Trump is furious because she took a civil player and said, hey, Democrats, I fucked up. Here, you're shut down to my agency. I am now proving that you are correct.
Well, I mean, Jimmy, with all this talk about efficiencies and budget restraints and DHS, like you said, DHS partially or shut down as far as funding. And then this pops up. And did she not think to get ahead of this? No. $250 million to show her face in these ads for recruitment. Okay, homeless, Barbie. Okay, yeah. We get it. Attract the young guys and everything. But really, $250 million, and like you said, Jimmy, it's hard to comprehend. On top of that, $300 million for a private jet. Make it make sense.
No, and this is the problem. Oh, Democrats, you're going out, you are being nasty. It's all about ICE, and they say no. We need to sit down and discuss As a matter of fact, the issue with them has never been ICE, and there I have to give the Democrats some credit that they did it right. We need to discuss DHS's budget. It's too big. There's too much waste. If then they did not apply Dodge to them, and if they're going to apply Dodge, they should apply to everybody. Okay, all those things.
Right.
But if anything, she said, "Look, I'm going to give you $500 million of wasted money, and go for it." And now you can argue, well, we did not need a jet, so we could take that out of the budget. We don't need all these promotions, so we can take it out of the budget. And let me put it this way. There's a lot of federal agencies, if you go on YouTube, that have the little square, we're hiring. Okay? And it's relatively cheap on YouTube, and they have hired. And if you go there and you click them, what you get is their job requirements, what you need to do to apply, what paperwork you're going to need, such as birth certificate and how you can apply. There's no secretary talking to you, hey, Look, I'm doing a great job. Look, I'm good looking. Look, I have a couple of cups. Look, she went down to El Salvador and filmed a 15-minute video down there at a cost of $2.5 million. Did we really need to have her showing her Rolex, which, by the way, that's what she had on her arm, her Rolex, dressed up in fatigues and doing this? No.
Wow.
So when she has created a problem, because right now the Democrats can justify this and say we need to sit down and discuss the DHS's budget.
Yes.
And and the Republicans are going to say, no, everything is fine. No, it isn't. And that's why Kennedy was very smart the way he did it, because he asked her twice, did you get approval from the president? Well, I discussed it with him. No. Did you get approval from the president? No, I discussed it with him. She never got approval. She did it on her own. And the sad part is that at the end of the day, I heard a comment that is going to hurt more her party than mine. There's no difference in wasting money between Democrats and Republicans.
Period.
And that is going to cost the Republicans during this election. That's why I have a wager with a friend of mine that I said it's going to be 20 seats in the House. And they think I'm crazy, but I'm going to prove myself.
As a matter of fact, Jimmy, there was a comment on TikTok that said, "Oh, I can't remember per se. I can't remember exactly what they said because I was going to mention it later. But they challenge you about your prediction. So it's funny that you do bring that up. I will bring up that comment later. It was on TikTok.
Yeah, and the way I bring it up is that basically it's right now you have congressmen in Texas that need to resign because he asked for a sexy photo to one of his assistants, Republican. And right now there's going to be a special election in Oklahoma.
Yes.
Will Oklahoma go Democrat? Probably not.
No, not in Oklahoma. No.
The one that is up in the air, I have to change my. I thought it was a waste of time, the Telemico and Crockett thing in Texas. But the way it's looking is not that bad, especially when you had a bunch of Republicans saying, "I'm voting if it's Paxton, I'm voting for Telemico. I don't trust this guy."
Yeah, Paxton is a flawed candidate. He's a flawed individual. Yes. And however, he is a fervent MAGA candidate, a fervent attorney general. And so, although the president has not decided to endorse anyone in that race, whereas Cornyn or Paxton, he has stated that they need to come to a decision and someone drop out, or he will have to get into this race.
And I think he's taking too much power into it, because if he goes with Paxton, the strong money Republican from Texas is not going to go with Paxton. They'll let the president endorse it, and they'll try to push Cornyn out, but they're not going to give him any money. Mm-hmm. Now, the reverse of that, if he goes with the other one, then the MAGAs are going to say, "Hey, you went with the rhinos and you took out our guy." He can't win that one. I think he's thinking he has too much power. Look, now, he has a lot of his MAGA people extremely angry with him. And I'm going to go and change here the subject and go into the first subject. Look, most MAGA people are anti-globalists and anti-war. It's a fact of life. America first means we take care of our things here in America, and we do not get into wars in foreign countries. As a matter of fact, part of America first is anti-regime change in other countries. We take care of our own. We do not go and have our kids die to change who is in control of the government. So he's having that problem already. Uh, Also, the problem he's having is that right now, Americans, it's about the economy, stupid. Did anybody sit down before you started to throw bombs at Iran and send all the boats and ships and out there to Iran to realize that you're blocking that area where one third of all the petroleum in the world proceeds through, including all most of the petroleum that goes to China? No, yeah, that is true. And let me get clear. Before I drove here today, the price of gas today is up 50 cents of what it was Saturday when I filled up my tank. 50 cents a gallon. Not that it's 50 cents more. No, no. It's 50 cents a gallon. You do 10 gallons in an SUV a week, that is $5. You fill up your tank 5 times a month, that's $25. And by the way, the price of gas is not hit where it's going to. If the longer this war goes on, the longer that is going to be blocked, you are going to have a war that is going to cost the American public in his pocket money, gas, food. Well, why would you say food? Well, because the people who transport food have to put it either in a truck, which consumes gas, has to put it in a plane, which consumes gas, has to put it in a train, which consumes gas, and has to, by the way, put it in a refrigerator, which consumes gas. And I could keep on going all afternoon. You have nobody sat down and said, hey, Mr. President, we're fooling you about that. Everybody's going to join you in the war, and everybody is going to agree with you, and you're going to get millions of people to vote for you because of the war, and they're not, and they're going to forget about the Epstein files, and they're going to forget about all the blunders in immigration, and they're going to forget about the wasted money that your administration has spent. No. It's all about the economy, stupid. It's not only in the cars. It's in the trucks that transport our food. It's in the trucks that transport our clothes. It's in the trucks that transport our gasoline. Everything is going to go up. And it's going to go up drastically. As a matter of fact, there are some people, I'm not saying that I would agree with this one, but there's some people who are predicting that we might go back to the 70s and go on lines to get our gasoline and be rationed certain days of the week.
Gas lines again, Jimmy?
Possibly.
I beg
right now. Did you notice that the gasoline went up 50 cents a gallon?
Yeah. Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. And thank goodness I had like 3/4, half a tank of gas in my car.
But realistically, do you think that the Republicans are not going to pay for this? Because this is one that you can't blame on Biden. Hell no. You cannot say this is Biden economy, the result of it. No. This is them. This is directly them. And the problem is that shows how stupid and naive they are. They didn't think this was going to have repercussions. Oh, we only get 3% of our gasoline from Iran. You're right. We only get 3%. But the problem is that the other gasoline that we buy worldwide, since China cannot get it from Iran, is buying it from Russia, is buying it from other countries, and from the other Arab countries. And right now, let's get this clear. Not all Arab countries are happy with the war in Iran. So for them to sell their gas instead to us, to China, no big deal. So yeah, you're going to have a problem. You have countries like Bahrain that was bombarded, okay? And
Right.
people say, well, why would they do that there? Well, they're one of the suppliers of gasoline.
Right.
And if the gasoline pipe dries up, the economy dries up. Let's let's stop pretending about this. This war is not about regime change. It's just like it was in Venezuela. It's about petroleum.
I had a question about that, Jimmy, about
Okay.
Venezuela and the link to Iran. However, before I get to that, I want to ask you this: is is the is the United States of America safer after this action, this conflict in Iran?
I'm going to answer this with a question myself. Really, you think that Iran was going to come and send jets that they never had any jets to fight the jets from Israel or even go and bombard our boats outside? They were going to they threw everything they had and it even come close to the United States.
Mhm.
Okay, yes, they killed some of our soldiers. I'm trying to say, but those were what we call medium range missiles that they had. They don't have anything that was threatening to us. No, this action did not make us safer. As a matter of fact, it didn't even make Israel safer. Was who is the pusher of this war? For the record, no. Even though the president said that he wanted to get in before Israel because he didn't want Israel to get all the glory for the invasion. Those were his words, not mine. So I had to take him at his word. So no, it
Okay.
hasn't not made us safer. I cannot think that in the last 2 weeks Iran was thinking about attacking us. And by the way, for those of you who don't know how this works, 9/11 was in response to something that happened 15 years previously in Afghanistan
Mhm.
that was planned in Afghanistan
It was planned.
and was a result of our involvement 15 years prior in Afghanistan.
That's correct.
They had the patience, the tolerance, and took their time and did what they did. And for the record, for those of you, I don't agree with what they did, but these people got into commercial jets and knowing they were going to die, they went through these buildings. So you're talking about fanatics, okay? So let's stop pretending that there's going to be no. But right now, was the ISIS in danger? No, hell no, not
Mhm.
even close.
Wow. Jimmy, to touch on the Venezuela Iran link here, with the actions under the Trump corollary in the what was it, the Monroe Doctrine, where the Western Hemisphere is going to be taken care of, it's going to be protected by the United States. We take care of ourselves and our neighbors. You've got Venezuela um, falling to Delcy Rodriguez, the vice president, now president of Venezuela. You have some systematic changes in Colombia. You have Scheinbaum in Mexico facing pressure from the cartels and seeing that the most dangerous the most dangerous cartel leader dying in an operation of special forces in Mexico with the assistance of America. You have Cuba, you know, crumbling, falling apart. The cooperation with Greenland to secure that northernmost of the Western Hemisphere. And now I just recently heard this morning on the New York Times, the Daily, that Ecuador is working with the United States in regards to addressing the drug cartels and the trafficking of illegal drugs and also human trafficking. And now you have Iran. You've got Iran supporting terrorist activities through the funding that was provided through the drug cartels. and the human trafficking. You have Iran supporting Hamas operations, Hezbollah operations, Islamic State operations, not only in Colombia and also Venezuela, but worldwide. Seeing to this past week's action in Venezuela, is this all part of the bigger um, Trump corollary, the Monroe Doctrine, um, the American system replacing the old rules based system?
No, you're giving him too much credit. He's not that smart.
Mhm.
First of all, however, what you said is what we're being sold as a bag of shit, and some people are buying.
Mhm.
Colombia's been working with the United States for years. The reason they stopped working with Donald Trump is he was a bully, and they said, "Fuck you, you're not going to bully us." Realistically, Ecuador has always tried to work with the U.S. That has not been a problem. That's something that now they're trying to get credit for, but Ecuador has always worked for. The Moron doctrine is basically, hey, we're not going to let the Europeans exploit South and Central America. We're going to do that. Nobody else. We're going to get this. Uh, um, we knew how the cartels were going to react in Mexico, and they have. And beware of one thing that you have not heard, but you're going to hear very soon, is how the cartels are going to react in the United States. Be careful of that one, because that's the one that nobody's going to talk about, but it's going to come. Because the United States participated in this. So their ventures are not only going to be with Mexico, but it's going to be with the U.S. After all, for years, the U.S. has been their bitch. They sell their drugs here, and they might try to tell you whatever they want, but they come in here, they have cops, and they have other people who look the other way and let them get away with it. And that's been going on for years. So to think that this is going to have anything to do with the moral doctrine, no. What it is going to be interesting to see is how does this affect the American people? And that's the part of this that I don't think has been thought through. Our prices of gas are going to go up. Our food costs that mostly come from Mexico are going to go up. Okay. We basically are not buying much from Canada, which I'm not sure how that helps the doctrine, moral doctrine, because those are white people like us and have nothing European, but that's beside it. And you have to understand that the biggest globalist in the world, is Donald J. Trump. He wants hotels in Vietnam. He wants hotel in Gaza. He wants hotels every place else. And yes, he has international ventures. He does not care about anything else but Donald J. Trump. So to give him credit that he's trying to protect America from what?
Mm-hmm.
The drugs have been coming in here for years, and realistically, I'm going to ask this question to everybody. They killed one of the owners of one of the cartels. Okay, has
Right.
the flow of drugs stopped coming into the United States? Yes or no? And everybody knows the answer to that one. No. So this is all a show. Hey, look what we're doing. Look how we're doing this. And look, we're doing it for this and for that. Realistically, do you really believe that Iran is going to attack us? If you believe that, I have a bridge over Lake Okeechobee that I can sell you real cheap. But at the same time, was Venezuela presenting a problem to us? Not really. I
Right.
mean, were they going to attack us? No. Were they selling their petroleum to the highest bidder? Well, that's pure capitalism. Yeah, China came and said, "I'll give you this much," and they sold it to them.
Sure.
Who's selling most of their petroleum to China? Russia. Okay. Are we doing anything about that one? No, because we don't fuck with those two people, because those two people could whip us up. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
combine China and Russia, they could whip our ass because we think that we are. No. Don't underestimate China navy and don't underestimate their power. Do you know what the Chinese did in Korea to the Americans?
Wait, in Korea. Okay, so we were on the same side with China in World War II.
Until,
And
until we went into Korea.
right. And they supplied the North Korean, resistance or whatever. I can't remember. They we were on opposite sides in Korea.
Yeah, but did you know what they did to us?
No, no, I do not.
Okay, we went in, we took up the parallel, we were going up to the capital of North Korea, and all of a sudden, one night, we heard these alarms, all the soldiers heard these alarms, and all of a sudden, 1 million Chinese soldiers came down the pike, and the machine guns were overheated and just clamped up because they couldn't keep shooting people. And to the whatever was left came and took down every American soldier basically, and they ran all the way to what today is Seoul at the end of the peninsula.
Okay.
They beat, historically, they beat us up. Okay, we then counterattacked, and it ended up in the same parallel that it was before the war.
Okay.
So when people think that the only army in the world that could really fight is us, don't underestimate the Chinese.
Oh, no doubt. Their standing army is as large as the population of the United States of America, just about.
Just about. And the problem with them is that they have nuclear weapons,
Correct.
they have long, short range, and medium things. They have a navy that has no envy to anybody.
Mhm.
So when people say, hey, I would say to you, all Americans don't fuck with China.
Right.
So the problem that I'm saying is if China right now needs to patrol and say, okay, US, I'm going up the channel and I'm going to buy the petroleum and I'm going to escort it back to China. I would like to see the United States of America dare to attack China. They won't.
Oh no, no,
No.
no.
So when people tell me that was a preventive strike, no, that's you're full of shit.
Jimmy, that leads to my next question before we go leave the
So
international stage and go to the national stage. What's the end game? Where do we go from here? What is the end game?
this is where it's interesting. Donald Trump listens to different people, and they in his second term, I find it fascinating. They control him by saying no. You can't do that, and he got pissed off, but he realized he couldn't. This second term is what I call the manipulation. Rubio saying, "Hey, you need to take out Maduro because this is going to help your image with the Hispanic population, and you're going to get the Hispanic population to vote for you because you took out Maduro." Oh, okay, let's take out Maduro. He took him out. Then he left it at that because he just got sidetracked. I don't want to do anything else. He moved everything, all those ships. He moved them to Iran. Then Netanyahu said, "Hey, I'm about to attack Iran, but I would like you to do it with me. And as a matter of fact, I would like you to initiate it because I want you to initiate it. And the reason you need to do this is because Iran is about to attack the United States of America." Really? Let's attack Iran. He's been manipulated. So end game is depending who is manipulating at that time. So yeah, there is no end game. There is not. Look, the United States is not going to put troops on the ground.
Mhm.
And for those of you who do not understand this, Batista was taken out and replaced by Castro. And the Americans were happy at the beginning until they realized that Castro learned to say a word to the United States that they hated, which was no. The King Hussein from Iran was kicked out of Iran, but placed there by the Americans. And a lot of people in Iran are concerned that they're going to take out their government and replace it with a friendly government, the United States, which is bullshit, is a bunch of puppets that are going to do whatever they tell them to do.
Okay.
That's also concerning to people in Iran. That's what happened in Iraq. And right now, the people in Iraq are not extremely happy with the government that the Americans left them there. Just so for the record. Uh, so basically, at this point, they see us learning how to play with Donald Trump. Hey, you want
Okay.
50 million gallons of oil? Here you go. Just just don't mess with me. Let me maintain a communist party here. Let me maintain my government here. Let me do what I've always done, and Charisto, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Because this, other than they took out Maduro, who probably was worse than Daisy, I'm not sure of that. You have to understand one thing about this: there is no plan. There it really is no plan. At the end of the day, the reason I say there's no plan also is because Donald J. Trump has never enunciated what his plan is. He just says that he's the greatest of all times and everybody loves what he's doing, everybody's happy with it, and everybody this and that. But he's never told us what the plan is. And
Right.
I'm concerned that he might get us into a war. And right now, like I said a few minutes ago, the MAGA people are not happy with him because if there's one thing that they always criticize is the war. As a matter of fact,
Right.
let me give you a hint of this. They never criticized Joe Biden for getting out of Afghanistan. The criticism was how he got out of Afghanistan.
That's correct. That's correct. How he got out.
Not that he got out, but how he got out. So,
Right.
to a certain degree, yeah.
Jimmy, on the national stage, the official start of the 2026 primary season started in Texas, Arkansas, and North Carolina with several primaries. The biggest one, in my opinion, was the primaries on both the Republican and Democrat sides for Democrat candidate to represent the candidate to represent the Democrats in the Senate race between Tarico and Crockett. On the Republican side, to represent the Republican in the Senate race, the general election, we had Paxton and we had Cornyn. Senator Cornyn is the current senator representing Texas. Let's start with the Republicans first. Attorney General Ken Paxton and Senator John Cornyn. It was very close. I think it was theoretically a statistical tie. You had the former Marine, and I can't believe his name is it Wesley Hunt? Wesley Hunt?
Yes, Wesley Hunt.
Yes, thank you. He came in third. There was a lot of hope for his campaign.
Why?
Why? Because he was a fresh replacement, a fresh alternative to
what?
Cornyn, who has been there for, I think, 4 terms. If I remember correctly, I may be wrong. Who has not been the MAGA favorite, but he's voted in step with Donald Trump. And then with Ken Paxton, Attorney General Ken Paxton, fervent MAGA. However, he's had some character issues. So you have a veteran in Hunt, a family man, he's a representative. He's leaned into his faith as a Christian and a fervent supporter of Donald Trump. And unfortunately, the last time I checked, he maybe got in the mid-teens as far as voting percentage. So that was the alternative, a refreshing alternative from my analysis of that particular campaign.
Okay, so let me take your analysis, and I'm going to ask you a question. This is the problem I'm having with some people do not realizing this. Hunt, MAGA.
Yes.
Paxton, MAGA.
Yes, sir.
Hunt, family person. Paxton recently divorced
Under nasty conditions.
because he failed to follow the Bible, which I find that interesting because, well, whatever. Paxton, well known statewide.
Yes.
Hunt, not know that well statewide, but know well in his area.
Yes.
Okay. Both strong MAGA candidates have had their noses up Donald Trump's ass for years.
Okay.
Both of them. The sinner versus the non-sinner, and the sinner wins by a significant margin to Hunt. Not to the other part, but to Hunt, who got I think 13 or 14%, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm checking.
There was a time he was up to 16%, but I think he even lost in his district. Okay.
Yikes.
He did lose in his district, I know.
Okay.
Let me put it this way, and I'm going to ask you this question. Between Paxton the sinner and Hunt the family man, and I'm giving them both being MAGAs. I'm not going to say one is more MAGA than the other because that would be unfair to either of them. Okay? What's the major difference?
The major difference between the two of them?
Yeah.
Obviously, when you look at the two men, excuse me, race is one thing. And then, of course, character.
But the one with less character, the white guy who had less character, beat the black guy with more character in a Republican primary. What a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I have to call like it is.
Okay.
I think that you're talking about Texas. You're not talking about Florida. You're not talking about Illinois. You're talking about Texas, who's
Right.
never had a statewide elected official who's been black in its history.
True.
Okay. Oh, you have had some black persons elected? Yes. Hunt lives in what is a predominantly African American district. Let's stop pretending that. And a very and an old, what I like to call Martin Luther King Republican district, which if Martin Luther King was alive today, he would not be a Republican. But that's a story for another day. But the only major difference between both of these people, and I hate to say it, is race. Mm-hmm. MAGA, both of them. Character, the black guy. The white guy, everybody knows he's a corrupt son of a bitch who was impeached by the House of Representatives, Republican House of Representatives of the state of Florida, state of Texas. So, can you tell me why you would race? So, that's anything I could think of. Now, let's go the reverse of that. Let's go into the Democrat race.
Okay, let's do this.
Crockett, who, to say the least, to say that she's controversial is understatement of the week, okay? Anti-Trump, like nobody that I've met.
Sure.
Okay? Somebody who's called Trump some nasty words, which he probably deserves half of them, but the other half maybe not. Okay. Against a state representative who represents the old Texas. If you ever go to old Texas, not the one with the MAGAs now, but the old Texas, Texans were very proud of their Hispanic heritage. Mm-hmm. They realized that Texas was part of Mexico. They realized that if your family was there in 1782, yeah, it has some Mexican blood in you. Okay, so why, that was Mexico. Tex-Mex, where does that come from? Texas. Very proud food. As a matter of fact, for those of you who do not know it, that is the state food Okay, a lot of the things that state things there are from Spanish descent. Just like in Florida, for those of you who do not know, one of our desserts is key lime pie. The other one is flan. Whoa! And by the way, for those of you who think differently, let me wake you up. Key lime pie was invented by the Spanish when they were here. But that's all for you. So,
Nice.
just wanted to say that. Okay, so the other thing here is you have the middle, Federico. He very well. He did not insult Trump.
Yes.
Basically he disagreed with all of his plans and of all of his things. And to a conservative, anybody who's not a conservative is a liberal, and to a liberal, anybody who's not a liberal is a conservative. So that goes both ways. But you had a lot of people in a lot of districts that Trump won by 25 and 26% going with it. And for the record, for those of you who did not know this, Texas has to redraw the map because there's more registered Democrats in Texas than there are Republicans. Number wise. So this is where it can become interesting. I think this is one of the things that I'm going to predict. Either of the Republican candidates that are left in the panorama right now, either of them are flawed. Either of them. So if Trump says, I'm going with Paxton, he's going to have somebody that MAGAs who believe in family values and religious values are not going to be able to vote for him and will end up staying home. And I agree, they're not going to vote for the other guy. But staying home is like voting for the other guy. For those of you who don't understand elections, if you stay home, you're voting for the other guy because you're not voting.
That's true.
The other guy, your guy lost a vote automatically. So if you're a Republican, you don't go out and vote for Paxton. That's one vote that he lost. Okay.
That's right.
Or if you just vote for other people, not him, that's one vote he lost. So, can there be a senator from this great senator of Texas that is a Democrat? Yeah. And it also depends. And one thing that they have wasted, and I'm going to call it again, they have wasted more than $100 billion of raised money in that primary to get the incumbent reelected and to get the other guy elected. To be quite honest, per dollar, what we call those of us who play the dollar game, per dollar per vote, you know what I'm talking about, is what we call our turn back.
Yes.
Paxton got more for his dollar, and so did Hunt. Than the okay. So the question is, how much money are they going to be willing to do? Look, for those of you who don't understand, both of the parties are divided. You have your traditional Republicans who are with the incumbent. You have your MAGAs who are going to be with Paxton, given the fact. And they're going to, between now and May, when the runoff comes, they're going to spend another $150 million money that could have been used further. And for the record,
yes,
Tabernacle is going to be sitting there going to the, hi, I'm the official candidate for the Democrats for the state of Texas. He could be raising money. He could be shaking hands. And he has started officially his campaign for the U.S. Senate. So people, get prepared because whoever wins in May is going to be a severely wounded candidate. Because the campaign right now is going to attack each other mercifully. Mercifully, they're going to be attacking each other.
And that's a good point you make, Jimmy. And very quickly, before we jump to, more Florida and Orange County issues, I was thinking about the Beto O'Rourke, Ted Cruz election. And Ted Cruz not being liked by a lot of people. And Beto had a great campaign. However, he came up short. And I'm thinking, oh boy, we're going to have the same thing with Cornyn, who is likable and has worked with Democrats, particularly Jasmine Crockett in the House, against Tallarico. Um, Not the same dynamic, but a little similar. The Republicans seem to always find a way in Texas. Um, do you see any similarities between?
No, and let me
Okay,
tell you why not. Back then it was I don't like Beto, I like Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is a Republican. I'm going to vote for Ted Cruz. Right now, if Paxton wins, the traditional conservative Republican might stay home. And if Corin wins, the MAGA people might stay home. You see, this is the problem. The division within the party is not as marked back then as it is now. And for the record, Ted Cruz didn't go to a primary, didn't come out wounded. He was the Republican
exactly.
candidate, and
Right.
he all the money he raised he could use. Right now, they already wasted over $100 million to attack each other to get Hunt out of the race. By the way, just to get Hunt out of the race. That's all they accomplished. They got Hunt out of the race. Other
That's
than
right.
that, they're going to go on it in May, and they're going to be attacking each other. And let me put it this way, just so you people also understand, difference between Ted Cruz and now. And at the end of May, beginning of June, you're going to know who the Republican candidate is. That's going to give him June, July, August, September, October. I'm not going to count November because it's on the 5th of November.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm not going to count. Gives it 5 months. When Derico is going to have March,
Now,
April, May, June, July, August, September, October. 8 months. 3 more months. With all due respect, you and I have run campaigns. 3 months is a major difference.
it is. It makes a big difference.
So
Wow.
basically, he's going to be raising money nationally. He is going to be going out there. He's going to be going to Corbett. He's going to be going to Jimmy Kimmel. He's going to be going to Jimmy Fallon. He's going to, and basically, I keep hearing that some of the artists of Mexican descent are going to go down there and start endorsing him. So be prepared for that one too. It's going
Wow.
to be an interesting way of seeing this. But no, Ted Cruz was not wounded. Ted Cruz was not called crazy by his Republican opposition. And the MAGAs and the Republicans voted for him. This time, one of them might stay home.
Yeah, good point.
And there's a second thing that's not been thrown into this equation. If it's Paxton, can Paxton meet dollar per dollar Tellerico? Because he's not a good fundraiser. Okay? He's not a good fundraiser. Most of the money has been raised by the incumbent, which is sad because at this day, you're an incumbent of 24 years, and the best you could do is catch up with a corrupt, impeached womanizer against you. Wow. That says a lot.
Right. All right. Let's bring it home to the state of Florida. Jimmy, you touch upon this in the conversation we just had about Texas and redistricting. Florida the conversation has picked up even more so in Florida about the redistricting of its congressional districts. Some are saying that Democrats could be left with 2 or 3 seats. And more importantly for us in Central Florida, District 9 and District 10. District 9 represented it by long-term representative, Congressman Darren Soto, and District 10 represented by freshman representative, Congressman Maxwell Frost. The maps that I've seen, 2 significant maps, show the 2 districts combined with 70% of that new district favoring Darren Soto, mostly Latino, that dips into Osceola County. However, a good number of that district, a good amount of that district is in Congressman Frost's district as it stands now. What are your thoughts on these hypotheticals?
Let's start by the beginning. I have a concern that right now, no matter what comes out of Tallahassee, I have an incompetent, super naive Democratic Party at Florida's level. To be quite honest, right now, if it was that way, the current Orange County DEC would favor Maxwell Force, and the Osceola County DEC would favor Darren Soto, and this might be a word war that might end up splitting up Orange and Osceola County more than they already are split up. Question is, which of these two representatives are going to be able to raise more money? That's going to be a good question. To be honest, I don't think this is only going to happen here. I think it's going to happen also in South Florida from some of the maps that I saw, that you could have Democrats running against Democrats, and who's going to win. That's going to be a good, interesting thing. To be quite honest, most people did not think that Maxwell Forrest would come out of the candidate for that District 10. They thought it was going to be Alan Grayson. Let's be honest. A lot of people thought it was going to be somebody else. They didn't give him kudos. And at the end, a lot of people did not think, excluding the disappeared and not heard from, and candidate for mayor of Orange County, Stephanie Murphy, who decided to quit the House because that seat was not winnable.
That's correct.
And Forrest went. So I would not underestimate either of them being able to run. The thing that I would be interested in that people do not seem to understand is that a lot of these seats that they think they're going to be Republican are purple.
Very competitive. Yes.
And with a good candidate, if we had a good Democratic Party, we could win a couple of those and surprise some of these people. You know, all we need is a good candidate and a good campaign manager, and that don't depend on the state of Florida, or for that matter, Washington.
Jimmy, I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly in that statement. I agree. And speaking of agreement, looks like there was not an agreement in regards to a 1% increase in property taxes to support the recently introduced mobility tax. Let me read it very quickly. As of March 2026, yesterday, the 5th, I think it was. No, the 4th. Orange County, Florida leaders decided not to move forward with a proposed 1% sales tax increase for transportation for the November 2026 ballot, citing a lack of consensus. The initiative aimed to generate over $700 million annually for infrastructure projects like roads, transit, and safety improvements, following a previous failed attempt in 2022. Jimmy, was this just poor planning by the advocates for this tax? Given that it is a midterm year, an important year for Orange County government, for the county commission, when you see the mayor seat up for election, and you have what, 4 or 5 other seats that are up for election? Was just poor timing, or not a good strategy to begin with?
It's a combination. It's not a good strategy. Increasing taxes is not a popular thing to do. Let's stop pretending, okay? It's very difficult. The only one who's able to do it with some consistency is the school board, and it's because they tell you what they're going to do, and because you see the results. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Orange County, from what I read, can you tell me which roads they were thinking of?
That's a good question. That's a very good question because the state road, like State Road 50, that's the responsibility of the state.
No,
Um,
no. There's a bunch of roads that are the responsibility of the county, but they didn't
right.
say which ones. Okay,
Good
this is
point.
the problem
Okay.
because a lot of the last one that died in 22, most of the improvements were going to the tourist area. We all know that.
Okay.
So this time they decided to say this is for the improvement this and this is for the improvement that, but they didn't say which one. At the same time, that didn't even come close to a vote that there was unanimous. And when you consider, let's put this way: one of the commissioners voted against this, is running for mayor.
Okay.
One of the commissioners voted for this against this is now running for re-election.
Okay.
Term out, by the way.
Okay.
The other one is leaving right now because she's going to become the mayor of Apopka.
So 30.
Okay. That Kelly voted against it should not surprise anybody. And why do I say that? Because there you have your four.
Okay.
And it's really something that we need to understand. It was properly planned, and basically, it had no community support. It had support from the people who were trying to organize this and get the money, but I did not see people lining in lines like they did for other things. Say, we're in support of this. That did not appear. And that's,
Right.
in my opinion, what killed it. That the fact that there was no community support for this.
Right. And I knew there was conversation. I know that the spokesperson for the committee that was put together, the advisory board that was put together to discuss this matter, was recently speaking upon, hoping that this would move forward for the November ballot. However, there was no physical, I did not see any physical marketing or announcement of this particular vote.
No, there wasn't. And there wasn't any support in the community. Uh, I think Kelly did a community thing, and the community was mostly against it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have to
Right.
understand, there's a community here who doesn't want us to build anything.
That's true, and that's unrealistic in my
Oh,
knowledge.
that's why I say there's a community here that wants that. Yeah.
Hmm. Right. Wow, Jimmy, would this ever come back to the attention of the commission now that it's expanding, and how soon?
Well, it depends who ends up your mayor. And I'll give you an example. Stephanie Murphy, maybe. Messina, yeah. Not sure what Tiffany and Maida stand on that because they might do it in a second term, but definitely neither of them would do it in the first term just because they want that second term. Whoever does that in the first term would have a problem. Then it depends who gets elected. 7 is such a toss up that I cannot say, but of the people there in 7, I can't see if anybody's supporting this.
Yeah.
6, there's 2 candidates, and I'm not sure that either of them will really be going out of their way on this. Not that they would be in opposition severely, but I can't see them. 2, the 2 candidates that I know, I would have to say would not be in support of this.
Mm-hmm.
District 1, for the next 2 years, I would not say they will be in support of this.
Right, the way she voted.
District 8 depends who ends up there. May or
Right.
may not be in support of it. District 4, I don't see this becoming one of. Joanna's top priorities. I can't see that. No, she has other issues, but this is not it. 5 will be there for a long time, and we know the answer to that one.
Right.
So I would have to say with the new composition that may or may not be there, I don't know if they're going to have enough votes. Next 2 years, 1 will be against it. 2 will probably be against it. 3, if it's Linda Stewart, might be in favor of it.
I doubt it. I don't think she would. As a tax increase, yikes.
No. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Tax increase, she will be against it. Okay. Especially since it's coming from a group that backstabbed her recently. Forgot about that one. Yeah, you have a point. Okay. District 4, Joanna, this is not a priority of Joanna's.
Right.
Right now. District 5, I don't even have to discuss that for 2 seconds because we know where that's coming. District 6 is going to be up in the air, and predicting District 6 is something that is a coin toss.
I think District 6 is going to be Mike Scott again. You have Luana Gelser and Heather Pierre Joseph running against him, and neither candidate is, in my belief, strong enough strategically to take on Commissioner Scott. My opinion. I think Commissioner Scott will be back after November.
And then again, coin toss. Because as much as I agree with you in your perception, you have to agree with me that okay, 7 we have no idea.
15 candidates running. Good Lord.
And that's they didn't want with the parking lot district. Go for it. Okay, now they have, depending who ends up there, maybe not. So 7, I'm going to leave as a toss-up, and 8, I'm going to leave as a toss-up, because even though some people tell me that Victor Torres is a front runner, I'll believe that when I see it.
Good point. I see him just because of name recognition only.
Yeah, I'm not sure of it, but yes. So 7 and 8 is a toss-up. So with the and you know, and I gave you 1 in the next 2 years. Not going to happen. 2, I don't think it's going to happen. And this is the other thing. If I was advising these county commissioners, you do not vote. You do not vote. You do not vote in your first term for taxes.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Because you won't get a second.
Thank you, Jimmy. You're so right on that.
So 2 would not vote for it. 3 would not vote for it. 4 would not vote for it. 5 would not vote for it. So you have 4 out of 8 that I could just tell you would not vote for it.
Exactly.
Okay. 7 may not vote for it. If they're smart enough and they follow that rule, they won't vote for it. And so would 8 not vote for it if they follow that rule. So
that's right. 6.
That's the issue. Now, in 2030, could it come up? Yeah, maybe.
Sure.
Yeah, because a lot of them are going to already be in their second term. But then in 30, you're going to have redistricting. So that's going to be another phenomenon. So it's going to be an interesting way of how this goes.
Right.
Okay, so let's go up for the fuck up of the week.
Jimmy, very quickly before we do, I want to let you know, one of your fans, she commented on how she enjoys your analysis and is with you, and that would be my mother.
Oh, good. Good. Mrs. Washington, you have a great son.
Thank you, Jim.
That he's going to agree with.
Thank you. All right, sir. Let's go with the fuck ups of the week.
Democrats, you should be pounding. You should be pounding, since this came up on Tuesday on the floor of the U.S. Senate, that you're right for taking down DHS. That basically there's a waste of $250,000 in advertising to promote the Secretary of DHS. There's a waste of spending $330 million in buying a private jet for the Secretary of DSH, and that Donald Trump agrees with you that there's a fuck up in the Department of Homeland Security, and that's why he replaced her and put her in Marvel Comics for that reason. Okay? Shields. I'm sorry, Shields comes from Marvel. For those of us who are fans of Marvel, we know what I mean by Shields. Okay. And she's going to be the head of Shields, so she's going to be the head of Marvels. Okay, section. You should be pounding because she put it in a silver platter. There is a waste. Don't talk about eyes. The camera, body cameras, those of us who understand how this works, body cameras could be turned off, and they could be turned on, and sometimes even to be more interesting, they could be muted. So I have very little faith. The face they should show, but don't make it anymore about eyes. Make it about waste. Okay? Make it about waste, and you will win this race. Okay. The Republican fuck up of the week. You could think I'm going to say the war. That's a big fuck up. But no, that's not the big fuck up of the Republican Party. The big fuck up of the Republican Party this week is that they committed the most outrageous mistake that they did by appointing the same Secretary of Homeland Security who had no qualifications to do this job. She has no law enforcement experience. She has no experience with anything to do with managing a large department. She managed as a governor the state of South Dakota, whose budget is 1/10 of that of Homeland Security. You have proven to yourself that you're no different from the Democrats. Can you blame what she did on Biden? Hell no! You appointed her. Can you blame Biden because of this? Hell no! You appointed her. She has spent more than $500 million. Let me put this again. More than $500 million have been wasted for a jet for her and for her to promote herself. If a Democrat had done that, with all due respect to you, you would be saying it to everyone. By the way, if a Democratic secretary of any department had done that, you would be publishing it from day one when you took office. But since that never happened under the Democrat, you couldn't. But you have a secretary of Homeland Security wasting over $500 million to promote herself and to buy herself a little jet so she could travel all around the country. With all due respect, what is that difference between you and those that you claim are the swamp? You are the swamp. You waste our tax dollars. So with that, that's the fuck up of the week of the Republicans. So with that, take that little button down there, subscribe. Hey, do me a favor, look it up. If dislike, like, give me your comments. I love you all. Even those of you who think that I'm crazy. Those I love the most because that shows me that you really love me, that you recognize who I am. So with that, I will see you all next week. You behave, or at least try to behave. And remember, your enemy is not your neighbor. Your enemy is the U.S. Congress and U.S. Senate. Take care.
It was awesome, Jimmy. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.
Okay.